God did not put man in a precarious situation. Some theologians have said if God knew that man was going to fall, and he knew that Satan was already going to tempt him not to fall, why did he not? That's putting blame on God. It wasn't like that. It wasn't like that. There was no reason for man to fall. God did not put man on the heart in a precarious situation. God did not put man on the heart for forces to dominate him. He has everything to overcome and to dominate. Man was not in a precarious situation. He had dominion. And that dominion traversed three worlds: the marine world, the cosmic power, and even all the entire heart. That's what he was referring to when he said over the fishes of the sea. He was talking about the marine power. Man had dominion over it. Until today, even in his fallen state, man still exercises dominion. You can see ships traversing over the sea. You can see planes fly through the air. That is still, even in his fallen state today, man still exercises that dominion. And over the beasts of the field. So God created man with the intent of dominion. Along the line, this dominion was lost. We shall see now the principle in the course of these lectures today. What happened to man? We saw that yesterday in the 3 lecture. Number 1, we saw in the first lecture man needed the dominion. That the whole crisis of today in the world is about dominion. It is for dominion. And when you see a ritualist looking for human blood or whatever, he is still looking for dominion. It's still a quest for dominion. Whether it's political power, whether it is whatever or whatever, it is all essentially for dominion that was lost at the garden. And we are looking at 2 pattern people that represent humanity: the black race and the white race, Esau and Jacob. And we said before God, there are only 2 races, the black and the white. Humanity is divided into 2. And if you have checked some YouTube of recent, some revelations of people saying that they saw the Lord, you will see exactly what we are saying. Before God, human race is divided into 2: black or white. You are either black or you are white. Forget about color, red, and that is why if you look at the division, they have always been against black, whether Chinese, whether Arab, they gang up because they know that these are the only different. And time will fail me, maybe in another time. I will tell you again, it is not everybody you see on earth that is a child that came from Adam and Eve. That's a long story. We are not going there today. So today, after seeing all this in the last 3 lectures, we have seen why our man must have dominion. We have also seen in the last 2 lectures the importance of dominion. Okay, we have seen also in the last in the last one lecture. Okay, I don't have that one here. Please, all these things by God's grace, they have been documented, they have been recorded. Okay, I cannot remember everything I said yesterday because I'm concerned about today on. Okay, so today, this morning, I want to begin with how dominion is acquired. So the title of this 4th lecture is what I call how dominion is acquired. The process of acquiring dominion. Please, this is very, very clear. I will try by as much as possible to be slow. Like I told you, the first 2 lectures were preaching. I was preaching. And I said preach, there's a difference between preaching and teaching. Preaching is proclamation. Preaching is declaration. What Peter did on the upper is a very perfect example of preaching. That is preaching. Jesus did not preach much. He taught a lot because he was in the synagogue. He was with the children of the covenant. Okay? So he was most of the time he was teaching. What Peter did on the day, preaching is mostly for outsiders. But teaching are for the children of the covenant, so that they can see what belongs to them in the covenant. So preaching is declaration, proclamation. Teaching is exposition. It's showing people, illustrating. Okay? So when you are teaching, you are slow. All right. Thank you very much. So today we are looking at how is this dominion acquired. We said yesterday that until dominion comes, everything waits. Everything waits. Whatever vision you have, whatever desire, whatever dream you have seen, it will wait until dominion comes to actualize it. It is dominion that vitalizes dreams into fulfillment. It is dominion that actualizes vision into concrete fulfillment. A lot of people have died now. They saw vision, they saw dream, but they never realized it in their lifetime. Why? The dominion that will bring it to pass. The dominion that will bring that future into fulfillment. They never had it. And they never were in contact with somebody who had it, who could help them. That is how vital dominion is. Many of you have seen vision. Many of you have seen dreams. You will go to this place, you will be this, you will be governor. And I gave you an example yesterday. Okay? Of people, please don't laugh at anybody. Okay? If somebody say a member of the church will be head of state, you get it? Sure, God might have spoken. They might have seen. Somebody say a pastor say will be president. He might indeed have seen the thing. That's correct. But then there is a dominion, there is an amount of dominion because there is a yoke that is enforcing the first grandpappy government of Nigeria. And to break that yoke, you need a certain level of dominion. That's what Isaac was saying to Esau. Say, you will serve your brother. I have made him Lord over you, but it shall come to pass. Genesis 27 verse 2. It shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion, you will break the yoke. So it does not come to pass until dominion comes into the picture. It does not come to pass. That vision will not come to pass until dominion comes into the equation. That is how vital it is. So when you see a politician sacrificing 20 people, you understand? Before an election, they know that they require a certain level of dominion for Satan to hear them. There is a counterfeit dominion. And you that you want to get your own from God, you must also pay. And this is the reason why we need to look for what is the path to dominion. So this is what we want to cause. Please listen carefully. There is a process by which dominion is acquired. There is a process by which supreme power is attained. We define what dominion is. That's in one of the lectures yesterday. And one of the things we say about dominion that it is also mastery, gaining mastery over something. Dominion also means mastery. We also say dominion also means a realm. It also means a domain. Oh, you are computer server, you know what a domain is. Now, let us look at some examples and how they acquire dominion. Now, first of all, let us start with our Lord, the Savior of the world, the Lord Jesus Christ. That's our best example. That's our pattern. Now, how did Jesus acquire dominion? We also define what dominion is from authority. Because of those of you who are here, because it will take time before you get the tape. You know, somebody will have to help us reduce them. But so that you can go on with it, let me just repeat one or two things I said yesterday. I said authority is the lowest form of dominion. The lowest form of dominion. And dominion is the highest form of authority. And I gave an example. Very good. I said, for example, authority can be withdrawn because it is given. Authority is given. Dominion is acquired. It's a pity nobody remember those formulas among the people I called to speak about yesterday's lecture. No, remember all these things. These are the key things because this is where the church is missing it. You are confusing authority with dominion. They are different. They are different. Authority is given. Somebody gives you to be in charge. Somebody make you a vice chancellor of a university. That is authority. When your position lapse, when your term lapse, they will take their thing back. Authority is withdrawn back. Great. Fine. We have Professor Yewole with us today. A former vice chancellor. Now, he is no more a vice chancellor now. He was elected. He was elected by federal government, vice chancellor, University of Abeokuta. Abi? Now that is authority. Go and be a governor over this university. That is authority. It is given. But when the 4-year or 8-year term expire, that authority lapse. If he goes there today, they will just honor him as a former vice chancellor. That authority has lapsed. But as a professor, nobody can take that from him. Why? That is dominion. We acquire that through his own effort, through personal self-effort and mental exertion. That is dominion. Nobody can take that one away from him. Nigerian government can't. All the people of Abeokuta cannot do it. That is dominion. That's the difference. Dominion is acquired. Authority is given. That was what Jesus was telling the disciples. Hey, I'm about to leave. Oh. When I was with you, they didn't like anything. When I said go and get this, everything worked out. Demons obey you. They didn't respect you. Demons were not respecting. They were respecting me. They saw me in you and they obeyed. But now I am going. So you must get your own dominion. If you have to sell your shirt, that's the sword he was dropping on, the sword of dominion. Whatever you have to go on a 40-day fast. Whatever you have to do, begin to work the way, because dominion is a personal property once you acquire it. So there is a process. And I also gave an example of Osinbajo. I said, today, the government is no longer the vice president. They have taken the authority from him. But as a professor of law, nobody can take that one because that's dominion. That's the difference between dominion and authority. So let us look at the process by which dominion is acquired. You don't have to go the counterfeit way. I feel sorry. Okay? I feel sorry for these Yahoo boys and their and politicians, whatever. Everybody going through the wrong way. No, there is a right way to attain dominion. You don't have to destroy another person. You don't have to take another person's life. Because if you take somebody's blood, one day too, they will take your own blood too. If the blood of another person is not precious to you, then one day your own blood too will not be precious to another person. Whoever dig a pit shall fall into it. Whoever break the egg, the serpent will bite him. Whoever digs a pit, he shall fall into it. Now let us begin. Everybody take your Bible. This is school. It's so sad to me that we even have less people today than yesterday. It is so sad. Now turn to Mark chapter 3 verse 14. I believe you have your Bible there. I want to show you some things here. Want to look at the very first thing, very first important thing if you want to build dominion. Mark chapter 3. Please, are you there? Mark chapter 3 verse 14. I'm reading verse 14. Okay, because of time, I will be reading myself. Okay, then open to Luke chapter 22. Luke chapter 22. Kunle Oyelami, off your mic. Mute everybody, I said. Luke chapter 22. Look at, okay, 22, now 35 to 38. Are you there? Okay, let me first of all read 3:14. Mark 3:14. Please follow. Mark chapter 3 verse 14. Mark chapter 3 verse 14. And he ordained 12 that they should be with him, that they should be with him, and that he might send them forth to preach. Please underline that word, send them forth. Underline that word, send them forth. And that he might send them forth to preach. Now, come with me to Luke chapter 24. Put your hand there. Put one sheet of paper there. Now, Luke 22, verse 35 to 38. And he said unto them, when I sent you without, in other words, when I sent you out, or when I sent you without purse and scrip and shoes, lack ye anything? And they said nothing. 36. Then said he unto them, but now, he that hath a purse, let him take it, and likewise his scrip. And he that hath no sword, let him sell his garment and buy one. Verse 37. For I say unto you that this thing that is written must yet be accomplished in me. And it was reckoned among the transgressions. For the things concerning me have an end. And they said, Lord, behold, here are two swords. And he said unto them, it is enough. Thank you. We are looking at the process of dominion acquisition. How is dominion acquired? Here we saw something. Jesus ordained 12. We saw yesterday that there are processes. When God say he blessed them, in Genesis chapter 1, 27 and 28, he said, and he blessed them. After God created man, the Bible says he blessed them. We saw the necessary condition for dominion yesterday, and we saw the sufficient condition. And for those of you, for the benefit of those who are not here, we said the sufficient condition is blessing. The more blessings you have, the higher your dominion. All the men of dominion in the Bible were also the most blessed. So blessing, don't play with blessing. Avoid causes like plague. Work for blessing. Whatever brings blessing brings dominion. Now here we see God, Christ himself, after going, because those 3 processes: multiplication, you guys think increase, okay, fruitfulness, okay. These are the things. Between blessing and dominion, there are also stages, and those stages must only be multiply, okay, be fruitful, okay, increase, then replenish, then subdue, and then have dominion. Those are all stages. We look at them yesterday exhaustively. Okay. Now, what are these processes? Number one, Christ was alone for more than 30 years. Then when he began, when the hour came and the time was fulfilled for him to come to begin, he started. First of all, he called to join him. Now, when we are reading our Bible today, we used to think that Matthew chapter 1 and Matthew chapter 2, they are probably within days to each other. It's not like that. It's not, I show you from Genesis 1, theologically, that between Genesis chapter 1, verse 1 and verse 2, between verse 1 and verse 2 of Genesis chapter 1, just those 2 verses, there are millions of years. There are billions of years. So, he called first of all 2 disciples who are following. Peter and Andrew were following. It took some time, James and John, to join. It's not immediate. Those 4 were with him for some time before some other joined. So it's not one day they all became 12 or 13 or whatever. It took time. It took process of time. Then before the 12 became 70, before they became 120, they are process of time. These are processes by which increase come, by which fruitfulness. People had him. They decide to follow him. They decide to be his disciple. Then out of them, he sent them out. Now here we see one of the very first principles of dominion. After you are fruitful, after you have multiplied, after you have increased, and you begin to subdue, all the forces that want to subdue, and you are. This is the very best thing. The Bible says he ordained 12 among these. And then that they should go out and preach it. That's what verse 14 said. That they might go and preach. Verse 14. Okay? That he might send them forth to preach, to go out. He might send them forth to preach. So Jesus sent the apostles out twice. We saw it in the record of the gospel. Twice he sent the apostles out, go. And in Luke chapter that I was reading to you, it was also like, when I sent you, did you lack anything? He sent them out. Why? Here we see one of the number one principle of dominion. Going out. He sent them out. He ordained them that they should be with him. But he did not keep them with him every time. Only two, he sent them out. Go and demonstrate what I've taught you. Go and tell people about the kingdom. Go and tell them. When the disciples of John came to him, he did not. They said, go again to John. Go and tell him what you have seen. Go tell people. So twice he sent these people out. And it is in those sending out that he demonstrated the principle of dominion. Do you remember? He said, when I send you out, did you lack anything? They said no. When I sent you out the second time, did you lack it? They said no. So he said, okay, now, whoever does not have a sword, he wasn't talking of physical sword. He was talking of dominion. The sword of dominion. The power that makes what you say to happen. The power that guarantees success, efficacy in your action. The power that guarantees that this is what you intended and nothing goes against it. The power that guarantees successful completion. The power that silences enemies, known and unknown. The power that makes you to shine in the midst of, and even fruitful in the midst of your enemies. Only and the light shineth in the darkness, and darkness comprehended it not. And I told you something yesterday. I told you a story that there was an element in Christianity in the early days, even as little as they knew, that today it has been lost. Dominion. Do you think that occultism is like this in those days? It wasn't. Think about, listen to me. Think about Nigeria of 1842 when Crowder came. Think about Yoruba land of that time. Did you read about Kiriji War? Did you read about the level of occultism that time? In Ibadan, in Oyo in those days. There is no more mercy again, no magic again. Did you hear of a tradition? I don't want to mention his name. I'm not glorifying Satan. I just want you to know the level of occultism of that time, of that era. When there was total darkness, nobody is mentioning the name of Jesus. Christ has not even been mentioned here at all. What do you think happened in those days? We were told of a warrior, I won't mention his name, who was fighting the battle. And when his head was wounded, he caught another soldier's head and put it on his head and still continue fighting in Yoruba land. That's the level of occultism. Now, this Christianity has little be used to despise Anglican Church today, that they don't know anything. No, they also decline. Anglican Church wasn't like this when they began. I told you of Baptist Church in my hometown yesterday, that the snake was sent into their midst. A snake, and they used their leg to trample it. Nobody ran away. Nobody ran. Baptist Church of that day. I told you of the Methodist man in Nirolu in Ijebu land, who was going to plant that church in another town, in Nirolu town. He's recorded a Methodist, and they put sacrifice on the road for him. Even no Pentecostal today, no Pentecostal bishop or whatever, we see that and not be careful. And he sat down with his team, evangelistic, and they look for magic. They roasted the chicken, they cooked the egg and ate it, and still proceeded. and nothing happened to them. That was Methodist of those days. Do you, even in Pentecostal church today, do you have that today? So there was a dominion in Christianity when even the one that the white people came, that we are thinking that is compromised. It is today that we are compromised. We have lost something. Let them have dominion. Where is dominion today in Christianity? So Jesus ordained, and he was telling them, when I said what twice, did you lack? They said no, sir. He said, so now get your own sword. That dominion you are using belongs to another who was with you. Now you need to personalize it. There is something that cannot be taken from you. What you are using was authority. I just delegated a few of what God has given me to you to use. But now you must get your own. Now you must domesticate that. You must get your own. When we're talking about dominion, we are talking about residential power. Residential power. Something that it is within your power. You also, and I ask people, if a gun is pointed at you, do you know what to do? Can you neutralize a gun? So the number one thing is this: is send them out. Dominion begins with going out. That's number one principle. Please write that down. Going out. You will never get dominion standing still. Please listen to that. You will never get dominion as long as they were with Jesus and with him just walking out. No, it is when he sent them out that they exercise dominion. Dominion comes when you go out. Go out to where people are. That's why he said, these signs shall follow. These signs shall follow. These signs shall follow them that believe. It is in going out. As you go out, they will follow you. If you stand still, there is not you don't follow a stationary vehicle. You follow a moving vehicle. He gave them dominion over sicknesses and diseases when they went out. So the number one principle is, please go out. It is in going out. In Deuteronomy 33, he said, so thou Zebulun, in your going out. You have heard the story of Martin Luther. And there have been many monks before Luther. Great monks. In fact, there were who are greater preacher than Luther. Luther wasn't a great preacher. We have the story of Savonarola of Italy. Powerful man. He was roasted by the Catholics. He was roasted. He was set on fire. Now, as long as Martin Luther remained in the monastery, this is where I'm going. As long as Martin Luther remained in the monastery, reciting those prayers and those liturgy, those whatever, there was nothing happened. But when he went out, when he quit that monastery and went out, when he went and nailed those theses, then so a chain of reaction began. That is how dominion is contracted. Go out, confront the evil, challenge the evil. As long as David threatened as long as Goliath threatened the entire children of Israel, and they were like kwashiorkor or rain-beaten chicken, and they were huddling together, entire soldier, because of the height of Goliath, nothing happened, no dominion. But when the child went out to confront him, that's how dominion is. Go out. Luther went out. Wesley went out. Every man of dominion, they went out. When he went out of that monastery and his wife too quit the convent, dominion was born. That is how dominion is born. Look at another case, Joseph. In Genesis chapter 37, verse 1, Joseph was a man who was destined for dominion. But as long as he was in his father's house, there was nothing. Dominion won't come. He could only be dreaming. He could only be dreaming of one day that 10 stars or 11 stars will bow, will surround his own star and begin to bow. And listen to me, if you are dreaming in that house, he will keep on dreaming. People have died with their dreams. Is it every dream you have had that has come to pass? I will tell you a mystery today. Anytime you have a dream and it did not come to pass, it is not as if God did not, it wasn't God that showed you. It's not as if it's the Holy Spirit, not, I mean, it was Satan. No. It means you did not have enough dominion to vitalize it, to actualize that, to bring that dream to the realm of manifestation. The dream actually exists. The promise of God are sure. They are there. They were hanging over your head like fruit. But you lack the dominion to bring it to the realm of manifestation. Don't forget that this world too is also occultic. There are forces. They can see, as you are dreaming today too are seeing, it's a satellite. When God is showing you that thing dream and you are looking at it, they are also seeing it. All your dreams, they know. And there are powers that will block it from coming to pass. Unless you can carry the level of sufficient level of dominion to neutralize them. As long as Joseph remained in that house, he will only be dreaming. But dominion is more than dreams. He has to go out. It is when you go out that dominion is encountered. Venture. You must venture out. The white man says, nothing venture, nothing gain. That's the old white people. That's what they say. That's what they tell their children. They went out. They came to Africa on exploration. Along the line, they saw, this land is richer than our own. And something led to another. And they began to conquer. They were the first to explore. Now, if you study history, you will know that China, everything that I gave a paper recently, if you read it very well. Everything that China, everything that British needed, used for industrial revolution in 1750, China already had it hundreds of years before then. But they stayed within themselves. They did not go out. They didn't interact with anybody. Dominion is not encountered that way. You must go out. Go and show your skill. Let people see what you have. Let them know what you can do. Venture. The Chinese stay whole in their land. The blast furnace, they already have it. They have paper as far back as first century. But they did not invent the press because they don't need it. Everything they've done it, they've had it. But they just stay put among themselves. But that little country in Europe, they began to go out. They began to interact, connect, and that's why they ruled the world. They had the dominion to rule the whole world. That is how dominion is encountered. Never forget that principle. It's number one principle. Go out. Go out. As long as that young man remains in his father's house, nothing happened except piling dreams upon dreams. and attracting envy from senior brothers, and also wickedness, until he went out. When he was apprehended by his brother and sold out into Egypt, that is the process of his journey to dominion began. It was an act, it was an enemy action, yes. But then they also exposed him. They exposed him to the wider world, the world of culture, Egypt, the empire that ruled the world. And you know the end of the story. Dominion comes by going out. That paper you have written, don't just stock it under your locker, send it out. Let another person read it. Let a body of scholars read it. Now, something happened in that, because I used to follow as a scholar myself by God's grace. I used to follow, I read the story. Journals of political, is it journal of political science? Is it, no. Remind me, journal, is it political, not political science? There is this feed, I've forgotten it. I can't remember now. One particular feed, not political science. Okay. Social science, yes. Social science, a journal, a very, very reputable journal in US. There is this woman. I'm not sure she had more than a degree, but she enjoyed it. Okay, you know, I mean, some people are so blessed, their husband are blessed, so they don't need to really work. So she gathered all these journals. She just loved it. I think probably she stopped at master's or one degree or first degree, but she loved it. So she as well as she was reading what, if any book comes out in political science or social science today by a reputable, she will order it. And she will buy and read. Journals she have acquired. Then one day, this woman wrote a journal article. In US, I read the story. She wrote a journal article. Having followed John, over the years, having read the great, it's not a young woman, having read the great scholars over the years, you know the pattern. And she's not an illiterate, definitely. So, she wrote a journal article on a particular thing and sent it out. You know the funniest thing? When the editors of the journal magazine, the article was so fine, the conception of that article, you get it, so baffle everybody that it got published. Before you know it, letters began to come from everywhere, from afar, from everywhere. Please, woman, where are you? Where are you teaching? Where are you lecturing? Where? The letters began to flow. In a nation that values knowledge and a journal that is read all over the world, letters began to come. And when this woman told them, I said, I'm not even a scholar. I'm not teaching anywhere. I'm just a housewife. People were shocked. That's what I'm saying. Dominion comes as long as he was reading, but when he sent something out, he sent his thoughts out. Jesus sent his disciples out. He did that for a purpose. Because he knew as long as they just stay with him, watching and eating with him, no, they are not going to let them go out. That's how let them go and encounter devils. Dominion is not encountered by just standing still, or standing whole in the monastery or on the mountain for years, just on the mountain praying. No, after you are praying, good. After you are fasting, after that 40-day or 50-day fast, very soon we end Lent. The 40-day, for those of you who are participating, then after that, go out, do something. How about Moses? In Exodus chapter 2, verse 11, say, and he went out to see his brethren. The journey to dominion begins when you go out. Don't stand still. Go out. He went out to see his brethren. Everything needed was in the palace, but he wasn't satisfied. He had to go out of the palace to meet the people, to see and feel their sufferings and understand their reproaches. If he did not share in their sufferings and reproaches, then he cannot share in their glory and dominion. If you remain in the palace, then at best, he will also become the next Pharaoh and acquire natural authority, but not dominion. And today we will not have heard about him. In Hebrews chapter 11, verse 24 to 20, Paul was writing about Moses, that he did not just want to be with the pleasure of sin for a season. He went out to see his brethren. That's when dominion comes. He went out. You may think he made a mistake by that singular action, for that's what banished him to exile, but that's what started his process, his journey into dominion. Do you want dominion? Go where God's people are. Where his reproaches are, and not after the pleasure of sin. Go. Join them in their struggle. Don't keep quiet. Go where the struggles are. Don't go where God's people are. Watchman Nee, many of you will have read the story. You will have come across, if you are an old Christian, from SU days or whatever. I think in those days, the books you usually read, Watchman Nee, A.W. Tozer. In any SU bookshop, you will still find, those, I think one other person. Watchman Nee was a Chinese Satan. Here is the story of Watchman Nee. Watchman Nee was outside ministering when the communists took over China. He is a Chinese. When the communists took over, he had a best opportunity. He could just stay in the West. In fact, the West loved him. I mean, with the quality of, he could just stay there. So, and continue life and continue whatever ministry there, like we will say to the ministry. And leave the people to begin to struggle with that, because the Chinese were after Christian leader. Definitely, if they got him, he's going to die. So he could say God has protected you, but he did not do that. They pleaded with him to stay in the West, in America, in any European country. Stay here. But he did not. And what was his reason? He told them, he said, the house cannot be on fire while the father of the house will be outside. He returned back to China to go and face them. And you know the end of the story, how he died, how they killed him and whatever. But at least he did not die as a coward. The same thing with Dietrich Bonhoeffer. Dietrich Bonhoeffer, he was also outside in Europe speaking when the Nazis took over Germany. He also returned. He went back. Please don't abandon God's people in the hour of their suffering. Don't abandon God's people in the hours of their crisis. That is the best way to lose out of reckoning and to lose dominion. Go share in their suffering. Share in their struggles. Go out with them. To be part of the glory, you must be part of the suffering. Hurt not Christ. You have entered into his glory after being part of this suffering. Christ, having been out of this suffering, enter into his glory. That's the scripture. If you read the Bible clearly, very well, you see suffering and glory are always placed side by side. If you see a man of glory who attained glory, go and check his history. They have been suffering. See what Joseph went through. But one day he landed the land of dominion. One day he contracted dominion. The same thing, that everything he saw came to pass. Those same headers, they came and they bowed before. He got the dominion to vitalize his dreams. Moses leaving the palace was the beginning of his journey into dominion. It may appear at the beginning that he was progressing physically, materially, and even financially. But spiritually, the journey to dominion had begun. By the time he would surface in Egypt 40 years later, he had the sword of dominion in his hand, the rod of dominion in his hand that will break Egypt and bring it to his knee. Let's look at another person, Jephthah. In Judges chapter 11, verse 1 to 3, look at it. Judges chapter 11. Judges 11. Let's see the story of Joseph, another person who contracted dominion. Judges. Judges chapter 11. Are you there? All right. Judges 11. Now Jephthah, I'm reading from verse 1. Now Jephthah, the Gileadite, was a mighty man of valor, and he was the son of an harlot. And Gilead begat Jephthah, and Gilead's wife bare him sons. And his wife's sons grew up, and they thrust out Jephthah, and said unto him, Thou shalt not inherit in our father's house, for thou art the son of a strange woman. Verse 3. Now look at it. Look at it. This is how dominion comes. Look at it. Then Jephthah, verse 3, fled from his brethren, and dwelt in the land of Tob, and there were gathered unto him fain men to Jephthah, and they went out with him. Did you see that? Did you underline that one? They went out with him. They went out with him. They went out with him. Jesus ordained 12 that he might send them out. They went out with him. In the story of David too, you will see that fain men, nonchalant men, area boys, if you like, outcast, social outcast, people who have no standing in society, vagabonds. They gathered them because they recognized the spirit of dominion inside. They saw that might, that spirit of might in him. They gathered them and they were going out together. What were they going out to do? Only they went out with him. Went out for what? For what? Into raids, to fighting, to combat. So by the time the challenge came, a warlord had emerged in Jephthah with a host of fighting men. The same social outcast that gathered around David. By the time Saul died and those guys invaded the city of the town of Israel, nobody could call them. They have attained dominion. As they went out with David, that same spirit passed on through to them. In the next factor that I will mention about, you will see how these things are connected. The law of association. So when you are looking for a big fish, you don't go to a shallow water. There are certain kind of fishes that you will not catch in that your village stream. You won't catch it there. You will not catch them there. They are not there. You must go out to where a large stream to catch them. A minister asked another fellow, he said, how come? How do you make it? I used to read that you have solicited several $million donation from certain people. How are you making? How is it they give donation $1 million to? And this pastor was asking another pastor, a friend, but nobody has ever given us that. What is the secret? And the man laughed. He said, it's because you don't belong to their cycle. There are circles. There are circles. You are not yet out into that circle. Dominion is about going out. Go out. Let people see what you have. Let them see what you are made of. Let them see what talent you possess. Let them see what skills you carry. Go and demonstrate what you have. Publish a book. Write articles. Social media is not there. The newspaper of those days, they won't publish you. I agree. But now, you now have everybody you can post your thing. You have groups. If it is good enough, it will go viral. Because somebody will post it to another. All my articles that have gone, that made me famous today, I just wrote them. I just wrote them and post to my own group, my own within circle here, and they have reached everywhere. People have called me from abroad, from all parts of the world. If it is good, it will reach its desired places. Go out, launch out. The apostle told them, Daddy, sir, Rabbi, throughout the night we have caught nothing. We have labored and labored and labored, and we have caught nothing. Nothing. And he said, now launch into the deep. Go out. Now launch now into the deep, and you will catch. Launch now into the deep. A notable person in this same nation. He read some of my articles. I don't know. You know, when I post something, I can't tell who is reading. I don't know who is reading. It's when I get response that I now know this person has been. A notable person, and he sent to me, say, I want you to do me a favor. Everything that you have written, everything, can you please compile them and send to me? And he sent to see me and said, just name your price. I don't know which particular thing that he read that, so, but he said he has been reading. So what am I talking about, people of God? Dominion begins when you launch it. As long as I kept all those things, was it today that I started writing? Was it 5 years ago I started? No, I've been writing for 20, 30 years. But now the mechanism are now there to make what I write for the whole world to see it. They weren't available then. So dominion begins at the point of going out. Please don't keep your talent. The anger of the Lord of the household against that one talent guy was that he kept it. He refused to launch it out. And the one who had 5 talents and made another 5 said, good, go and administer 5 cities. Go and administer 10 cities. You can see, dominion was given to him because he used he launched out with what he had. There's no way you can invest 5 talent without going out. He went out to the investors. He went out. He used what God has given him. He launched them out. Same with the one with 2 talents. But the one who refused, who kept this, who refused to send this out, what was given to him, who kept it? In fact, he lost himself and went into utter darkness. That's the danger. Kenneth Hagin told us his story. He said in those days, nobody knew him. But he had the calling. So he began as an evangelist. So whenever he hear that there is a minister, so he too will go there. And you know, white people, they are not like us. They are very polite. They have culture, to be honest. They are very polite. They are very polite. So before anything, they will ask all the ministers in the house, come and introduce yourself. I mean, that's culture. Unlike here, where they will say, if you don't have a church, we went for an international program one time. Minister, I think I've told you here, some of you before. And the person was, I think it's Osauni, Bishop Osauni. You know, these people, these men of status and whatever. Okay, they address those of us, all ministers. So mind you, nobody is there who is not a minister. Minister, they say, how can you be sitting? How can you be on the chair? They talk as if they are talking to their. Some of these people, when did they begin preaching? What year? What did they start preaching? Okay, they say if you are sitting on that chair and you are not on the white chair and you don't have 2,000 in your congregation, kindly stand up. I just ignore them. I just ignore them. Well, the little-minded people, okay, feeble-minded people, they quickly stand up to avoid embarrassment, because immediately they send their, their this way that have been trained to hear only the pastor, paparism, the kingdom of paparism, and mamaism is what that is saying. But this is a conference for all of us. We didn't come to your denomination. This is stadium, Nigeria's national stadium. This is a conference. It's bunker that is coming. It's not your program. So I remain seated and I was waiting for the person that will come and evict me in Lagos. So one of the people they sent was in those days when I was still pastoring, was my junior pastor. One of those, so immediately he saw me, he said, Reverend, and he quickly turned back. I remember money said Rukofi Abiba was his son. Or something like that. Get it? So I kept on sitting. No, what am I saying, essence? White people are equal. So again, we go there. When they say, ministers, introduce yourself. Nobody is asking of how many church you have, how many people in your church. No. If you are a minister, you are called, please come forward. So an agent will go there. In those days, nobody knew. I said, my name is Kenneth Again. Very frail, just coming out of sickness. My name is Kenneth Again. I'm an evangelist. You get it? William Brown too started like that. He went out. That is how dominion is acquired. Please understand. I made this one number one because it's very crucial. And this is where people are missing it. You have this beautiful voice for music. Go, don't worry about Norelian first. Go out, go out, go out. You see an evangelist, he has a crowd, he's going to, I will sing for you. Just go. Go out first. Let people see what God has given you. Venture out with that talent. And who knows, somebody will see. Write that book. Preach that sermon. Sing that song. Write that song. Compose that music. If you think you are already at the top now, you are still not yet at the top. There are still people who need to see. There are people in United Nations. Many of them are not as talented. They are not as qualified as some of you. That is how dominion is celebrated. Not by sitting down, not by sitting still. People have to see you. People have to know what you have. William Brown went out one day. Listen to another story. The great prophet who sparked the healing revival in America in 1945 to 58. And when he saw a meeting, he said he saw cars just going to a particular place. Cars with sticker. Pentecostal in those days in America, they were going. And they knew that it was a conference. And he too went there. And he sat down. And like I tell you, these white people, they have this culture. Ministers in the house, please, can you come forward? Oh, I hope Nigeria would cultivate that one day. Ministers of God in the house, can you please come forward? Come to the platform, everybody, all ministers in the house. And William Brown in his jackboot, a poor person, whatever, but with a call, an evangelist. And he too went out. And when he got to him, he too introduced himself. I'm William Marion Branham, evangelist from Indiana. And they greeted all of them and asked them to go back. By the next day, in those days, Pentecostal were not like this. There were no program in those days. That's another thing that has entered Pentecostality that wasn't there at the beginning. In those days, it is whoever that the Spirit said must preach that will preach. No, so everybody prepare. Everybody come to the church, prepare. Even the apostolic church, I still remember. As an elder, as a whatever, you come prepare. Because they can say, while they are praying, the Spirit can say you are the one that is giving the message. So everybody come prepare. And the second day, Brown was there. And the Spirit of the Lord said to the organizer, say, that young man is the one giving the message. Do you see now? He went out. They have to see him first. If you are staying in his cubicle, they have to see him. And it was announced from the platform, a large gathering. How long will it take him to gather all those people from across the nation? That's why you must go out. That is how dominion is acquired. That's number one thing. And they announced, they said there was a young man here yesterday who announced, who introduced himself. Please come forward. The Spirit of God is telling us that you are the one bringing us the message today. Please come forward. And he was there. Because he was improperly dressed, as a poor person, he has only jackboot he was wearing. He felt undistinguished to stand before those of God's people. But these are in those days. Materialism has not entered Pentecostal. Nobody cares about how you dress. The important thing is the message you carry, the word of the Lord in your mouth. And finally, they brought him forward. And he took the mic. And the Spirit of God took control. And he preached his sermon. Well, by the time he finished, invitation was coming. Can you come to here? Can you come to Florida? That is how dominion comes. When you go out, demonstrate what God has put inside you. I think I've spent enough time here. Let me take another factor for dominion, in acquiring dominion. I hope everybody here now, you are all knowledgeable. Sorry, because this is teaching. It's not preaching. So I have to hammer and illustrate it so that it enter your consciousness. You don't forget it. Number 2 factor in acquiring dominion. Pastor Tom will remind me because we just go on and be speaking for 6 hours. I don't know when time is skinny so that I can stop. So I will just go on. Okay, it's 2 in 1 lecture, sir. Okay. 2 in 1, Abi. Have you spent 1 hour now? Yes, almost about 1 hour now. My God. My God. All right. Let me finish this one, then and then we'll sing, and then I'll go again to, because we still have 3 more lectures. Okay. Incidentally, I'm just even covering one of the titles. Like we'll spend the whole day on this one here. Now, another second factor. Association. Association. Now, let me tell you one thing about myself. Sorry, before we go on to that, still on that first topic going out, let me tell you about myself. In 2013, listen, because you need to get this one. If we are not able to cover this thing, there will still be another convocation wherever we stop in July. Now, in 2013, I was reading the newspaper and I saw the Association of Nigerian Authors. They're having their national convention at Akure. And they call for papers. I want to tell you my story today. That's 2013. And they call for papers. Before that time, I had only written, yes, of course, scholarly paper, yes. Ogbomoso Journal of Theology. and then University of Ibadan, religious study. I mean, their journal, but I've never ventured into secular, into Islam, whatever. So they called for papers, and I sent them an abstract of a paper, and they gladly responded and replied, we'll be glad that you come and deliver this paper at Akure. So, and I prepared the paper. You can still read that whole paper on my literature, what is it? I can't remember, literature revolution or something. A study of history and culture, something like that. And I prepared the paper. I really work on it because I know the caliber of people that will be coming. Okay? This is an association started by Soyinka Achebe to the literary powers of Nigeria. And I know that several people are coming from, it's an annual conference. So their professors are coming. I can't afford to. So I deliberately work on that paper. Get it? I invested my name. So I went to Akure the day of the presentation. When I took the mic and presented that paper, ladies and gentlemen, the whole hall erupted. When I finished, the whole place was Professor Toyin Fowler was in the audience. He was the one giving he was the one who gave the keynote. When I finished, they gave me a standing ovation. Standing ovation. Before I could leave that place, I was surrounded by, can we have your phone number? Can you? Now, this is where I'm going. It was there the Kogi State, you understand, invited me. Anna, Association of Nigeria, invited me. I said, come again. We are doing the photo and the Lagos and the Kogi State government. That was how I invited. Where I now went and we had 4 professors, vice chancellor of all the universities were present, commissioners of government, secretary to government of Kogi State were present. You see the thing? And that was what opened the door for my first trip to America. Are you following what I'm saying? Because of one paper delivered in Akure. That is how dominance can. What if I just stay in my office? Okay? So I'm drinking my garri and whatever so on. No, you have to go out. You have to go out. That is how it happened. That is how dominion is acquired. They have invited me again. They will have invited me the third time, but for the crisis of last. That is how it happens. Now, the second factor, people of God, in dominion, association. Who do you associate with? By association, I mean the coming together of like minds in a spirit of total fidelity, harmony, and constancy. It is in such a group that spirit is transferred and dominion is acquired. Association. I've received several reports of many people in this movement. I thank God for that. That since the time we joined this thing, no, we have seen a change. People have told me that, look, I don't know, but now, in fact, I also read book. I also think, you understand? I'm happy that people are now taking their Christianity much more serious. Association impacts you, and it's also detract you. It will take out to you or take from you. And I want people, see, if you are living on a altar, a church that has been judged by God, in the day that their judgment comes through, you will share in it. Because the law of association works both in reverse, it works forward, it works backward. It's a two-edged sword. Future alone will not save you if you are in the wrong association. Future alone will not bring dominion if you are in the wrong association. That was the mistake of Jonathan. He saw the right vision. David, you will become the king, and I will become your second in command. But then he still went on and continued to associate with Saul, whom God had already judged. Saul is under judgment. Your general overseer is under judgment. Your bishop is under judgment. That pastor is under judgment. He's a fraudster. He's an occult pastor. And you still continue to fellowship under him. And you still continue to worship under him. Because you have seen a vision that one day you think dominion will come. No, it won't come. It's judgment that will come. Because in the day that his judgment comes true, you will share in it by law of association. Jonathan died eventually. He died with Saul. He shared in the judgment that he should not have shared with because he associated with the wrong person. Through association, those fair men that joined Jephthah in Judges 11 that we read, they became mighty men too. Those fair men that joined David, they also became mighty men. Like Joab, like Abishai, the sons of Zeruiah, like Benaiah. Men who could take the sword and strike 800 at once at a single blow. Mighty men. Men who could sling the sling without missing the target. Mighty men. They learned those things by associating with David. None of them came here as a mighty man. They came here as robber. They came here as vagabond, rejected by society, parasite on the body of society. But through the law of association, they became mighty men. If you have associated with me for 2, 3, 4 years, and you are not a better Christian, you still think very, very shallow, then it is you have yourself to blame. Sincerely, I must disown you. I don't know you. Dominion is built on association. Who do you associate with? Who are your close associates? Who do you pray with? Who do you share your heart secret with? These things matter. That is how dominion is contracted. Joshua associated with Moses. He was his confidant. He was his armor bearer. He was his aide de camp. And you know what happened? The same spirit of wisdom that was using passed on over him. Elisha associated with Elijah. And the spirit of Elijah rested on Elijah. I mean, the spirit of Elijah rested on Elijah. Even the sons of the prophet testify. The apostles, they associated with the Lord Jesus. They went out with him. They accompanied with him in all his journey, all his trial. And one day, the Sanhedrin, when they listened to Peter in the book of Acts chapter, the Bible said they marveled. That being an ignorant and unlearned man, he was so bold before the highest authority of the land. And then they remember that he had been with Jesus. Association will change you. Association will change you. Don't just belong to professional association. That one is good at a certain level. You have seen medical doctor, the medical association, engineer, Nigerians and engineers, and so on and so forth. I used to also be a leader there. But now, I have the little time remaining, I mean, the long life remaining that I have to spend. I want to spend more majorly now on the important thing. Curtail your association. Spirit can transfer through association. Who are you following? Who is your leader? Who are you associating with? From whose straw are you drinking from? All these things matter. They will either add to your dominion or they will remove from it. And there are some, I was wondering, somebody visited me some days ago from abroad, and I was counseling him. I said, you have to be careful these days. Well, the pastors of those days, the ministers of those days, they use their own ministry to empower people. But the ministers of today are using people to empower their ministry. Jesus used himself to empower me to people. That was his own concept of ministry. To empower people. You cannot enter, you can't go to the ministry, the campaign of Christ, his crusade, his revival, and not be empowered. And not be spiritually living. And even physically. Even when they were about to go one time without food, he said, no way. He said, no way. You must give them to eat. Give them to eat. He empowered people. But today, there's another class of ministry that I've seen. They use people to empower their ministry. Women are now complaining of men, so-called minister evangelists that have snatched their glory through sex, through all manner of ritual. And that's what is powering some of your ministry today. Not the Holy Spirit. They don't know the Holy Spirit. They are ritualists. I mean, the testimony, the reports are now so many that all these women cannot be lying. I studied a bit of logic. All these things cannot all be lies. They cannot all be conspiracy. Because they need that way to use them to empower their own ministry. All the billion something in the village that they are building. Where do you think the money is going? It's the glory of those women. Virgins who have been destroyed. Whose glories have been destroyed. And now that will be the tragedy of the next generation. They will look for husband they won't get. They will look for children they will not be able to give. Because everything they will do in this life have been snatched. Have been used. Have been traded in the black market of the occult. Be careful who you associate with. But people will not come here. How many of us are here? Out of the over 500 in apostolic Christian, was this thing not advertised? How many of us are here? Today is at least Saturday. We are not even as many today as yesterday. That was a working day. How many are here today? Okay.